So I thought I'd make a quick video on this subject. These are guys trying to run LED lights on your Volkswagen and running these things here, which are, I'm running diodes on here to try and keep the current from backfeeding. And one of the issues we run into on these LED lights, because one of the circuits is like the same lighting is dimmed on one circuit, and on the other side it's brightened. So the same light bulbs are all lighting up. All the LEDs that are on here all light up dim on the like a running light circuit, and then when you put it on the turn signal circuit, all the LEDs light up brighter. And what there is a little tiny circuit board in here. In fact, I got one apart. I'll show you. So the circuit board is like this here. If you see here, there's a lot of little things on there, and kind of what that does is one side's a resistance circuit, one side's a full circuit, and it does make when one of the circuits is lit up, the other circuit feeds back into the system. So what we did is we put a diodes on both sides of it to isolate it, but we also found out that we were trying to run two sets of circuits on here. I was going to have taillights, and I was going to have an additional set of taillights. So if you're running LEDs, you really can't run two of them because it'll always feed back. We tried about everything you can try to isolate those circuits to get them to not feed back, but what happens is one of the circuits even becomes a ground. We tried it even with regular light bulbs, with these incandescent light bulbs. We tried it with two sets of LEDs, and it always seems to feed back. It's a little more complicated than just a diode. It would, it actually feeds back. Like we figured out what it does is it creates a false ground here, and because it goes back through with the incandescent bulb, it goes back through and then tries to find ground up in the head. That's not a full ground because it's actually another hot that's not that's neutral. And but it gives it a false ground effect, and then what happens is the LED shuts off. So running two sets of LEDs together is not really possible that we can find. Like I said, we've isolated the circuit by using diodes and different things that to try and make it not work, make it work. So, but what we found is that we can run one set of taillights with LEDs and have them 12 volts, and both circuits will be 12 volts on a 6-volt car, and it does work. So what we've got right now is we've got 2 volta, well, they're not really volta drops, so they take from 6 volts up to like whatever is, you can adjust it up to whatever 12 volts. So we have them at 12.6 to get a nice bright LED shine, and that's what we found. We're going to run these with just these taillights, and then we're going to just run these ones only as running lights, because if we run them as brake lights only, then that's where you have the feedback issue that we're finding. So hopefully this works out. Stay tuned, and if it doesn't work out, I will actually, I'm going to wait to post this until I know it works. So all right, talk to you in the next portion. After doing this thing, I don't know, we've had these taillights on and off at least 30 times or so. We figured out part of the problem is these had to be welded because they broke off. So if you got these kind of taillights and these things are broke off, you need to grind it down super flat or be ready to put some tape on there because this thing barely touches right there. It touches on that part we've taped up. It just touches it enough. That's how much Volkswagens are so tight tolerance. Everything's made that if it's not perfect, it doesn't fit. And that's what we've got to deal with right now. This isn't perfect. It's not exactly like it was originally, so it won't fit. And we've got this grounding issue. So I blew a fuse before already, but we've had problems with the LEDs So we're having a problem with LEDs, and we're having a problem with ground issue like this. It's just like multiple problems trying to get these things to work, but they will work once we get done. Tail lights, if you guys saw how dim they are at 6 volts, you'd think this was fantastic. But they are quite a bit brighter. If you look at my other car, 12 volt LED, and then I have a second run set of tail lights. If you guys haven't seen those, I haven't gone over the accessories we're putting on this car. I just got notified that my other accessories arrived in the US. So I should have them shortly, and then I'll be putting those on, and then I'll be doing a video of the car. So if you're just new to the channel, or if you've been watching this build, you're going to want to see it when I get all the accessories on. Here's a little glimpse of some of them. But actually I have a few more of these coming from other countries. But anyway, so that's the tail lights. Let's show how to turn the turn signals on real quick. And that's how bright the turn signals are. They're really pretty bright, super bright LEDs. And then the thing that I'm going to do that's next, the brake lights, the thing that I'm going to do that's next is, I don't know if you've ever seen, you guys, and this is a 6 volt car. Remember, this is a 6 volt car. It's running 12 volt tail lights. It's running 12 volt turn signals, LED. And they're not those stupid little panel ones that are really hard to put in that you end up breaking your housings with. It's running all the original parts in the car. So the thing that's going to be coming is these tail lights are also going to strobe. As soon as you hit the brakes, they'll strobe 3 times, and then they'll go solid. Because then you'll get a little bit more notice that they're on. Because in these cars, they're really hard to see. So that's why I put the second set of tail lights on here. And that's why I wanted as much visibility as possible. Sorry about it, I have my light on the camera right now, so it's taken away from them just a little bit. But that's how it looks going down the road. And I'll show you a couple things that were a little bit of a disadvantage to running this 6 volt car with 12 volt tail lights. One of the issues you run into, and I'm just going to go over this real quick, is in the turn signal, or in the to be able to run the turn signals on 12 volts and have the car be 6 volts, your idiot lights here have to be 12 volts. Now, when you have a 6 volt generator, what happens is when you start the car, see the light stays on dim, because what happens is when the car's running and the generator's working, it feeds back to be able to turn the light out. So you have one side of this, your bulb check has a hot wire on it, and that's for your turn signals and also for these idiot lights. The one side has the hot wire, and then what happens is when you start the car, it generates 6 volts coming back from that generator wire back to the idiot light here. And what that does is, because there's supposed to be 6 volts on the bulb check and 6 volts on the generator, it actually makes it a wash, and then it makes the light turn out. So, and then what happens when your generator goes bad is that wire back there that's hooked up to the regulator grounds, and then the light comes on really bright. So, you know, it comes on bright because it grounds, and you've got 6 volts to the other side, right? So if you understand that circuit, the two neutralize out each other. Well, when you have 12 volts on here, because you have to have all these bulbs have to be 12 volts, all 3 of these bulbs have to be 12 volts, and you have to have a 12 volt hot wire to the side for your turn signal, so your turn signals will work. You'll always have, basically, your light will be on dim. You see how it dims down a little bit? That means the generator's working, okay? But at night it's a little bit irritating because it's kind of brighter at night when that light's on. So that's one of the disadvantages to it. I'd much rather have bright tail lights and not get rear-ended than have the generator light, you know. That doesn't bother me that much. So you lose something. There's always, you know, a loss somewhere. So let's take a look at the circuit up in the front, just so you guys can get the idea of what is being done. And might be developing a kit for this, but like I said, it's kind of a use at your own risk thing, so it's a little easier to find the parts. What I did is temporarily I used one of these. I had one left of the one that I wouldn't recommend using, and I'm using it for the tail lights. And funny thing is, when that wire back there grounded on the tail light, it burned up one of these boards. So they burn up pretty easily. These ones are a little more tough. So I'm going to use those boards next time, or I'm going to replace that board with one of those boards there, which I don't know what that's called, a voltage converter, I guess. It's not an inverter because it doesn't turn it to AC, and it's a voltage converter. It takes 6 volts and makes it into 12 volts. So basically what you do is your headlight, your tail light wire that comes off your tail light, your light switch back there, comes over, and it has to be just the tail light wire, hooks up to here to the 6 volt side, and then out of here it goes to the 12 volt side and goes back to the tail lights. And you got right here, this is hooked up to this connection here, and I removed the old 6 volt wire. I think that's not it. No, there's the old, yeah, I guess it is. That's the old 6 volt wire there, and we've just removed that wire and replaced it with the other one. And then on the other side, basically, on this part is when you turn on the ignition, the wire that goes from whatever side it is, from right here, from this side of the fuse, and goes around and goes up to this side of the board, it changes it to 12 volts, this side of the board here, and changes it to 12 volts, and then it comes down and hooks up. One of them hooks up to the turn signal switch here, your hot wire on your turn signal switch. The other one hooks up to the hot wire on the bulb check. So then I had to change all 3 bulbs to 12 volts, okay, and get an LED flasher. So, and then wired up everything with LEDs, and put also in the circuit I had to put in diodes so that it wouldn't feed back. Because like I said, the light bulbs are wired different than a typical, you know, 1157 has 2 filaments, and the LED has 2 connections, but they're single filament. Okay, it's just like one makes the lights all brighter than the other one through some sort of a circuit board connection. So anyway, that's kind of how it works. And if you're interested in doing that, you know, you can buy those things on eBay, do it yourself. We're gonna look into maybe making a kit to do that, and maybe sell them. Not sure yet. Hey, put in some of the notes that you'd like something like that. You could be used on a bug or bus, and as long as you're running single tail lights, it should be fine. But you know, like I said, it's a use at your own risk type of thing. And you know, because if you short out that, like if I short out the fuses here, the board's going to fry before the fuse is going to blow. So, you know, that's the sort of thing that you end up with, because it's not original. You know, like they have those, you know, those little LED plates, and they don't really light up very bright in the 6 volt. You know, they're not really any brighter than the other ones are. And I wanted brighter taillights, not, you know, partial bright taillights. So anyway, so that's it. So please like, share, and subscribe. Talk to the next video. And we'll see you on the next one.